Ready? All right, welcome to episode 21 of the More Smarter Show. Jake, what do we have on the agenda today?
What's going on? So this is just us today. It's a solo episode. It's been a little bit since it's just been us. And it's exciting for at least selfishly, it's exciting when it's just us because I get to talk more. What do you think about
Yeah.
that?
No, I agree. I agree. We get to dive into real estate land, but we try we try and
Well,
stay away from that as
no,
much
not
as
just real estate land, just our personal, our personal touch is a little better. But we'll have a guest next week, and then we have a whole slew lined up for the next few months, actually.
yes,
So it's
sir.
an exciting episode here. So let's talk a little bit about a topic let's start with a topic that we talked about offline once. And it is about being, well, okay, I'll say this. Sorry, so I'm teasing it. How about this, Dylan? Let me ask you, currently, like the most exciting shows on Netflix or Hulu or HBO are about what topic? It's such a stupidly broad question,
That's I
the way I brought it up,
What?
but here's where I'm going with it. There are so many shows recently, in my opinion, that it's like the new hot thing of a rich person failing. Like a rich family, something crazy, someone dies, someone, some scandal happens. Like rich
What
scandal.
episode could you possibly be thinking of? Like show on,
What
on
show?
Netflix or
Like
Hulu? Yeah.
every like 6 to 8 episode mini series now that I watch,
Mm,
at least, other than reality TV, like Love is Blind. Like I still love that stuff, but
yeah.
all those other new shows that are at least interest me, and I feel like they're just hot now, are surrounding that topic. A rich family, something scandalous happens, kind of like the Murdoch. That's a true story, but like that type of situation is like so in right now.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Okay. And it
In your world, is that in or no?
it's not in my world now. It's maybe that's like a mid 30 kind of thing. It's like
I'm not
almost
mid
like a
30s.
midlife.
I'm not mid 30s. I'm early 30s, but sure, maybe it is. It's certainly possible. But anyway, here's where I'm going with this. Why is that so in? Does that make you
I
think?
I
Makes
think
me
it's
think.
I think it's in because people don't like to see rich or people like to see rich people fall, I think. That's
Exactly.
it.
So back to the topic we talked about offline back in February. So this is November now. So eight, whatever, 8 months ago ish was the Super Bowl. And I remember I said to you, because we were talking about this business mindset stuff. And I said to you, who did you root for in the Super Bowl? So when it was Chiefs Eagles this past February, Dylan, who did you root for?
Equals all the way.
You rooted for the Eagles. What's your favorite
Of
football
course.
team? Let's zoom out a little bit. Typically, what's your favorite football team?
I'm a Ravens fan.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so you're kind of irrelevant to both teams in that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my point of asking you this was I thought it was so interesting that so many Giants fans I know, and I'm a big Jets fan, so those two teams are also irrelevant to me. But so many Giants fans I know were also rooting for the Eagles to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And why is that? Because the Chiefs have been so great in the last, they're a dynasty. People
Yeah.
hate them or were rooting against them so heavily. And I was sitting there at a Super Bowl party that I was at, and these Giants fans like rooting for the Eagles as if they were the Giants playing. Like they were not just like preferring the Eagles win, but they were rooting for the Eagles. And I'm thinking, is this just because like people hate greatness? Back to this Netflix series, like people like seeing the the top fall,
Mm,
right? Isn't that
yeah.
interesting?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think there are specific characters on the Chiefs that people also don't
But
like.
but that's where I don't agree. Like who? Mahomes is pretty likable, except the fact that he's great.
I think it's okay, so from my age group, 20 23, early 20s
Mid
compared to
20s,
like
all right.
the late 30s that you have. It's it's like the younger group that is like looking at like Jackson Mahomes and Patrick Mahomes' wife and like the people that it's surrounded with, and
So
it's
not
always
him.
panning,
Okay.
but it's always panning to like the
Yeah,
box
like
office
Taylor
or whatever,
Swift.
and it's like
Yeah.
Taylor Swift and all them, and it's just like cringy, and people just hate that.
It's also, I mean, and we're not, this isn't a football podcast, but it also doesn't do that often. I remember someone telling me how, like, yeah, they always show Taylor Swift. And I'm like, They show her once a game, I think. Maybe a couple times if Kelsey has a couple touchdowns. Like I could deal with the 5 seconds of her being on my screen. I happen to love
Yeah.
her. But even if I didn't,
You're a massive Taylor Swift fan.
I am. But even if I wasn't, I'm like, all right, get over it. This is greatness in a dynasty, which we only get so often in any sports. How can we not appreciate that?
That's true. And then I mean, going based on the same topic, it's Taylor Swift. You don't really. I mean, I really don't see much Taylor Swift haters besides the football people. Like in recent years with Travis Kelsey, I think it really depends though. I think because Taylor Swift has also been great for multiple decades, two
Greatness. I
decades.
appreciate greatness. Even when the
Yes.
Patriots, when I was your age, the Patriots were the team,
Yeah.
Brady, and I'm a Jets fan, so they always beat the Jets, same as last night in real life, actually. But I still like, yeah, I rooted against them. I preferred them to lose because they were the Jets' rivals when they were playing like the Falcons or the Eagles, like random teams in the Super Bowl. I preferred them to lose, but I wasn't actively rooting against them because I also appreciated greatness.
Mm.
So what does that say about
Yeah.
me or say about people who think the opposite?
I think people like to go against the grain too. I think there's an underdog story here.
Hmm.
I think because people are rooting for the like or everyone is expecting the Chiefs to win or the Patriots to win. That's why they want to root for the underdog. So I mean, let's try and get this back to
To
business
business.
here. And I think where this kind of correlates is when you're the underdog in business. So I was watching this uh, podcast the other day with this guy Patrick Bet David, and he was talking about how you can take down a Goliath in your industry. And he was saying that at one time in his insurance bit like conference, he went up to one of the top dogs and he stood him right in the face, and he was like, "I'm going to beat you in this business game." And he was like, "No one."
Okay.
And the desire for that is because now you immediately put yourself up to that level.
Yeah.
And I think this goes to even like a Jerry Springer show. It's like you want to like look either like look down and make yourself feel better or keep yourself up and put yourself with the
Wait.
category of good.
What does that have to do with Jerry Springer? Where are you going with
I
that? Like
I
Maury?
saw so no, well people watch like a Jerry Springer show to make
Yeah.
themselves feel better. It's like a
Okay.
it's like
I got you.
you know,
So
it's
it's
like
comparing
yeah,
yourself to these people.
exactly. Comparison.
Okay. So yes, agree. People like the underdog since the 80s with Rocky. That's a famous movie because he won as an underdog and lost. So agree that is always in. Have you ever been in a situation? Is there anything in your life where you were new or the underdog, you rose past that and then you became the top dog? Have you ever had that experience in your life?
Um yes, I've had it in high school when
So
I
two
was a
years ago.
sophomore.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I was a sophomore. I was a sophomore in high school, and I ended up starting over the senior,
Mm,
and
good example.
everyone hated. Like honestly, it was a team full of seniors. I was the only sophomore that played. Everyone hated me because the coach like they didn't like me. I was batting like ninth, and I was just really good in the field, and
Yeah.
I just was playing good. And then everyone hated me, but eventually I started playing really well, and you know they started to mesh a little bit and kind of rose up a little bit
Okay.
higher.
So
But
with that experience that you had, you now have that experience of what it takes to beat the person in front of you. And then the second level to it is to maintain that status. See, when I coached baseball, I had a similar situation. When I started coaching baseball, we were average. Took us a couple years. Then we won 3 championships in a row. And then so after the first one, I'm like, wow, this is a lot different. We now are the team that everyone else circles on their schedule. This is so now everyone plays their pitches their best pitcher against us.
hmm,
So because of that experience and maybe yours as well, I have an appreciation for back to back or for dynasty or for the top of a business person because there's a different level of expectation that you
yep,
have to fulfill. And if you're able to maintain that over time, I appreciate the shit out of that in business.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think when it comes to business, though, it's the expectation alone is insanely hard to just there's pressure. There's immediate pressure now that like you're expected to perform. Um,
That's right.
but when we're talking about business, I think it's a little bit easier than a sport because you're not. I don't think there's as much like this is the like in business. I think there's more admiration in that like compared to sports. Like if it's a baseball game and your team is circled and it's like we're coming after these people, we want to win, we're throwing our best pitcher, etc. I don't know if that happens in business. I think it's like respect. There's more respect to it because it's not
It
as
do,
much of a like a
yes and no.
gotcha.
Like it does happen because I could tell you my next experience is currently ongoing. It's property management, my HOA management company. We we started, at 2022 really, and it's currently towards the end of 2025. So we're in that weird in between of being new and having that confidence of like we did when we were new, that chip on our shoulder, like we're taking everyone down, we're conquering the town, we're being the new guys in town. To now where okay, we're getting referrals from current clients and our customers are speaking highly about us, and now we're coming into these calls and that people know us, so that's a
Mm,
different mindset for us, and like now
true.
everyone is expecting that great service, as they should be of course, but now they're expecting a great service versus hey, I'll give these guys a chance. It's just different.
Mm. Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, how does that make you feel though that you like rose to that top?
How does it make me feel? It's pretty cool, and yeah, I don't know. It's less easy. It's more difficult to say that we're at the top. We're at our, we are impressed with ourselves, but I don't know if there's anyone else out there. Unlike sports, you could see the standings. Like maybe
Yeah,
someone else is doing better. I don't. It's hard for us to totally know.
yeah.
But it actually it makes us better. It makes us better because we're built for it, but it could
Mm.
make someone who's not a company that's not built for it worse
By imposter syndrome or how?
by realizing, like zooming out and giving your own company a look and looking in the mirror and being like, okay, now we have like this is what's happened in the last couple of years in terms of growth, and what do we have to do for the next couple of years to continue growing and continue great service? We need a great team. We need great processes and systems. We need to be forecasting, because scaling comes with more money to be spent, invested into different things. So if you're not having those conversations, then you're not going to stay at the top for long.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's more of an expectation of yourself at that point. When it's business, it's if you are, there's an external expectation from clients and like other business transactions that you could be having. And there's the more important part where you're saying is it's the expectation you have with yourself. You need to look
Yeah.
at yourself as that top dog. And that I mean that goes into sports too. Like the biggest thing is confidence with sports. Like when I was a sophomore, I like was playing really good. Halfway through the season, I like started to tank, and I was like I started to play bad because I lost my confidence, and then
Yeah. Well,
everything went to shit.
it's so easy to go all in to beat the best, which is kind of what I'm saying here with business as
Yeah,
well. But it's hard to maintain the status of being the best
true.
because when we had five buildings, you can call me whenever. Like, yeah, yeah, whatever you guys need, I'll be there. I'll be there in two
Hmm.
seconds. You got five buildings. But now we're at 25. I can't be there. So now
Yeah.
like that service it will go down unless we are prepared and smart and scaling correctly,
Mm.
right? And I'm actually
Yeah.
having this similar experience with me being a realtor. So I hate that we always divert to that, but
Yeah.
we're both going to connect on this. I really try to work more smarter as a realtor, right? As we talk about all the time.
Mm.
But that's not how I always worked as a realtor. When I began, I was working more harder because I didn't know better.
Mm.
And there's a component of having to work more harder when you're new to something. So now, when those first few clients that I had when I was working more harder, when I only had a couple clients, want to buy a house again or sell a house again with me, which I'm currently going through right now, they're
Hmm.
expecting more harder Jake.
Yeah.
And they're expecting Jake too, who only had three clients at the time and was a teacher also, and was
Yeah.
like just a different Jake.
Giving up every single second of his weekend to show 20
Right.
houses. Is
That's
that what you're
right.
saying?
That
Yeah.
was that was old Jake, right? Probably old Dylan
Yeah.
too. But it's the same client, but
Hmm.
it's not the same Jake.
So what is so okay, so there's the knock in the face where you're a new player now. Tell him that. How do you put that across? How do you manage that expectation?
I don't say it in the same way that I just said it to you, where I'm like not the
Uh-huh.
same person. I'm work more smarter.
This is
Because
the new me.
no,
That's what
yeah,
you
I
say.
don't say that because if you don't fully understand it, then it actually comes off as a negative.
Mm,
But what I do is I set the expectation of like, hey, great news. I no longer am that stupid realtor I was when we first met. I now have a team of things going on, right? Not necessarily a real estate team, but I have if I'm away, I have a showing assistant, if I have a transaction coordinator. So you're actually going to get a better service than you did last time, but that doesn't always mean that I'm the person of contact or will get back to you as quick as I used to because now I'm smarter about it.
mm.
So it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it.
It's about how you say it. Yeah,
And
totally.
it's the
I and I
truth.
and I don't even think so. Managing the expectation number one, but then also figuring out what the expectation is more important. It's
What do you
like
mean?
because I was just on the phone with my buddy last night, and he works in finance, and he works crazy hours. He works like literally 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and he was telling me that whenever someone gives him work to do, he's because he's a first year analyst, he's just expected to say yes and do it. And my question to him was, when does that ever stop?
Yeah.
Like for me, when is it not okay to reach out to me at 6:30 p.m. on a Wednesday? Or is it always going to be okay? Like an attorney, you wouldn't the expectation for an attorney is they're not going to respond until Tuesday or
Yeah.
Thursday morning. So do I want that? And like just kind of what the conversation is there. Like, do I want that number one? And what's the plus of that? Having
Yeah,
more of a
that's a great
balance.
point. So, in my example, when I'm that same client but a different me, I don't answer until the morning, right? Or I answer when I can. Sometimes it is that night that I can, but if I can't, then I won't. And I reposition the thinking and I think to myself, okay, they're coming back to me to work with me. They knew the first time that there's 10,000 realtors to choose from, and they know this time even more that there's 10,000 realtors to choose from. And they
Mhm.
went to me. So obviously, there's value in me. And I know my value, and I agree with their perspective of me. But the value in me that they're going back to is not because I answer so quickly,
Mhm.
right? So you got it's all I guess it goes back to confidence in that, but it really you have to realize why they're going back to you or why they're coming to you and realize your value for that.
Yeah. Yes. So I agree. So like it's breaking down what the value adds that you kind of have, and also I think because it's we can say this for being a realtor, but we can also say this for every other business. It's how that business transaction makes you feel. And if I'm working
Us
with
or
if
the
you
client.
the client,
Hmm.
yeah, the client, and not us, yeah, not
Yeah.
us at all. But so if we present the making them feel really informed all the time and making them like feel like great about the transaction, of course they're going to come back. So that's finding what like your value was what were those specific points. But then when we go back and we try and optimize the business, whether it be property management, realtor, or whatever business, what are those specific things that you really want to make note of that are going to become the core of your expectation for your clients?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still don't have the answer to that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have it like I don't have like a actual answer, but I have an idea for it. And I do recognize that as I go through a transaction, through a realtor, and for me, property management, as I go through some situations there, I do think to myself, like, wow, that is a one percentile thing to do of myself. And like I'm going to always attack this one percentile thing to do because that is will always be what separates me from others.
Hmm.
So, quick example in property management. I mean, you don't own a condo, so you don't really know what to compare it to. But if you owned a condo, if you're listening and you owned a condo and your HOA property manager suggested an assessment or a new budget or some sort of financial increase, usually you're receiving that either last minute and or through email with not a ton of explanation. And most condo owners are like, what the hell is going on and why? I didn't sign up for this. Why is there an increase? What's going on? But this month, I just started this, and now it's our system for our whole company forever. We create a Loom video for the condo owners. So I'll share my screen on Loom. There'll be a budget. And for right now, I'm doing this for the company. So I'll present the budget and I'll go line by line of anything that, is different from the last budget and why there's an increase. I'll show with documentation of why there's an increase. I'll give another suggestion of what we can do instead, but here's our recommendation. And you're hearing your property manager say that, your HOA manager say that, like you're watching me talk, you're seeing line by line. So there's no questions about why things are happening financially.
Mm.
I don't know that there's another HOA company doing that in America.
That does that. Yeah, in America. Yeah, in
Really.
America, yeah, I mean, I don't know, but that would be, I agree. I think that displays a bunch of characteristics though too, where it's like, that's, you're being vulnerable. And when you are vulnerable with someone, they immediately trust you. And when you build that trust, then there's that's the customer experience. That's the feeling that they get from you. So I mean, totally. That's a great one to have. Now, do you have that in every single client, or is it just kind of one off whenever they ask?
Every single building
Yeah,
we have.
yeah. So that's good. That's really
Yeah.
good. That, I mean,
It's
that's
a new
something.
system, it's only probably 2 months old now at this point. I did it with one and I said, "Oh my God, they don't have questions. They don't have follow-up questions." Which is everything we go for, right? If one
Yeah,
person has a question, then everyone's going to have that question. And
totally.
questions are fine, but let's get ahead of them. In HOA
Yep.
property management, the questions are always the same. So at this point, we
Yeah,
should know what they're going to be.
yeah.
And that's how you be
Because
great.
well, so here's kind of my dilemma is, in order to create the customer experience to be outstanding, you want to have somewhat of a personal touch throughout the timeline of whatever the transaction is. Um, and because of that, I think, and like, because like also at the same time you're trying to optimize your business,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to like optimize it so much where they feel out of touch with you. And
100%.
because of that, you don't make the customer experience well. So you have to find the balance. And I think that's the hardest part. So like for me, real estate business, you I want to be able to inform my client as much as I possibly can without having to repeat myself as much as I possibly can.
100%.
So how do I do that? It's creating those Loom videos that you're talking about. It's kind of just having them there. So if someone wants to go into it and double check everything and see if it's dive deeper, I don't have to go
Yeah.
into that deep explanation.
Yeah, I learned that skill through teaching actually. I think I told you this. I would
Yeah, you did.
literally, I forget if I said this on the air, but I would literally record myself explaining the rules of a game because I was a gym teacher. And then in the microphone, play it, me recording it, the recording, I mean, into the microphone. And there would be 50 kids in my class. And once I clicked record, I'm not repeating it. I can't go back. I can't like for one kid like start the video over. It was
Yeah.
silent and there were no questions about the rules every time I did that strategy.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And that's the expectation too. And
Yeah,
everyone,
and there's some vulnerability there. Exactly. It's like, oh, Mr. Hanlon's getting his phone out, like, oh, he, swiping up on a text while the recording comes. Like it's human, but it's
mm,
like, hey, there's no BS. Like this is what it is, you know?
yeah.
But back to this Loom idea. Like Loom is so hot for us right now. Like I'm a huge fan, as we talked about on the Scott Bauer episode. I'm such a
Mm,
Loom fan. It sounds like you are too. Think about a roofer like Dave the roofer we had on our show. Think about if
yep.
he did, or any roofer, any electrician, whatever it is, did a Loom video for their customers.
Mm,
Like, hey, here's the photos I took at the roof thing inspection, and I'm pointing or annotating why, what the issue is. Think
yeah.
about shit. Now
Yeah.
I want to buy a
That's
roofing company and just do that.
I think on top of that though, blue collar, like, so these are all problems, right? It's like, how can we address the problems and how can we make them the best, like customer friendly? And of course, it's about the service itself. But on top of that, what are the ancillary problems that go on during a transaction? If you're talking about a roofing company, my dad is a general contractor. So he will have a bunch of people showing up to a job, and maybe those people like leave like
Yeah.
their garbage outside the house and it's not cool or whatever. So having a like even something like this would be having a company or having like a sheet that says, all right, if this happens, like if there's trash outside, like text me at this number and then call my junk removal guy and he'll be able to come there in the next 24 hours and pick it up.
So for a
Like
general
that would be
contractor, where would that live on what document?
yeah, it's a good question. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
maybe just an email document
yeah,
that is already in Loop or on your email or on your website, having something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, see, that's a challenge there. I know in Property Management, it's like on their portals, so
Mm,
they have a plan of action basically.
yeah, well, you gotta dive deeper
So
into that a little
anyway,
bit.
anyway, being the greatest, people hate you. People want you.
Yeah,
People want you to lose to a team they hate separately, right? To their
yeah,
rival team in the Super Bowl because they'd rather their rival win than someone who has won before.
yeah. Which correlates to the connection of how you can kind of get to the greatness and stay there, and you got to just respect that. So
That's my opinion, at least. I was rooting for the Chiefs because I like
salute to the
greatness.
Chiefs and and Aaron Judge too.
That him too. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's greatness. People hate the fact that he had a phenomenal season, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, and in business, if you're at the top, there'll be many people trying to bring you down, and
Yeah,
you have my respect if you make it to the top, but you gotta maintain that top status.
yeah, absolutely. So, guys, like, comment, share the More Smarter Show.
Only if you like it.